and welcome to all our viewers from around the world. I'm Kristen Schwartz, licensed midwife and MC here at Gold Midwifery and Gold Learning. And with me today is one of our speakers for our upcoming Gold Midwifery online conference of 2022. And I'm so happy to have here with me Priyanka Idicula. Welcome, Priyanka.
Thank you.
It is so lovely to have you here. Your presentation for the conference is titled Midwifery Care of Adolescent Pregnancies, Lessons from India. So first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, and you are doing such tremendous work in India, and I'm so glad you're presenting about this here at Gold. So tell us a little bit about your background and your work.
Right. So, my background is interesting because it started out nothing to do with midwifery at all. I have a bachelor's and master's in microbiology to
Oh,
begin with. And I walked into midwifery in 2006 purely on my heart's call after the birth of my child.
mhm,
And it's an interesting journey in India because we do not have independent midwifery yet in India. So my training into midwifery comes from the US, and I was very clear that when I went in for my education for midwifery, it is to bring back to my country,
mm,
to serve and to bring independent midwifery back home. That's where I was always very clear about. And from that point onwards, I also established Birth Village as an independent freestanding birth center back in 2010. And around a couple of years later is when we set up our foundation, which is Birth for Change, which we started working for pregnant teenagers. And that's the crux of the presentation that we are
mhm,
doing right now.
mhm.
So it was always our vision and our goal that we offered maternity care to women, from all walks of life. They could be teachers, they could be IT professionals, they could be farmers. But what really kept my fire going was my work towards these children.
Mm,
So
mhm.
that was something that was life changing for me and taught me so many lessons. And honestly, I wish that my girls could teach a thing or two about labor to the other mothers because they're so fantastic. So yeah, so that's how this project, it's, I would say that one led to the other, and that's where we are at today.
Okay, wonderful. Oh my goodness, my heart is full just listening to you, providing these wonderful services to your community, and especially to these children. So, how do these there are children
Yeah,
find you when
yeah,
when they're pregnant? I mean, there's probably it's a very difficult situation for them,
yeah,
their parents probably are not supportive,
yeah.
or in very few cases supportive. Society looks at them and judges them, and they have very little resources because they can't operate by themselves. They're not adults. How do they find you, or how do you find them, and how many children do you have in your center?
Right. So when we first started out, we got in touch with the Child Welfare Committee in the state that I'm in. And basically, when there's a child that's pregnant, it always goes to the Child Welfare Committee first.
Mhm.
And from there, they send the girls to us. So currently in India, we were the only home that's registered for pregnant teenagers exclusively. And we are talking about a population of over 1 billion people.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
so that we're the only home that operates. And we started really well, and the work went really, really well. And I cannot say because, see, we worked with very limited resources ourselves
Mhm.
because we did not have any funding or any, we don't have any um, I cannot say any governmental support per se. Of course, the government supports the program, but not financially exactly. So
Mhm.
a lot of the money that goes into the home is from the other birth center that we run, from various donations, from Dilse, which is our supporting organization as well. So that's how we grow. And at the time, we can probably house around, say, close to 8 to 10 girls at a time. That's the resource
Mhm.
that we have. And unfortunately, I must also mention this at the point of interview is, and I'm sure across the world, we face the biggest
Mhm.
issue was when the COVID struck
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
So when COVID struck us, the other thing in India that we faced is we had to close our homes. This was another completely different issue altogether because we couldn't get people to come in to care for the girls, right? That was a
Yeah.
completely different issue. Also, we had to temporarily close the home till the COVID situation gets better to take the next batch of girls.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, oh my goodness. That is already, you're already working under very limiting
yeah,
circumstances
yeah.
financially, and now even on top of that, the
Yeah,
COVID situation making
COVID
everything
situation.
worse. Oh,
Yeah,
that's heartbreaking. So tell me, so these young children that come to you, and then you're providing care. They live there as well, right?
that's right. That's right.
And you are with them, and of course preparing them for labor and birth
Yeah,
and motherhood and what comes after. So these they have given birth. What comes next for them?
yeah. So once they have given birth, the one thing I have to say for them is that they're actually all pretty good students. They're really good in school.
Hmm.
Most of them are, or they're good in arts, or,
Mm.
it could be in any field. And they're really particular that they want to go back to school.
Oh,
That's the
beautiful.
main goal that they have. They want to go back. They really, nobody is interested in sitting at home, or none of them are. I've not come across a single child who doesn't want to head back.
Hmm.
So what we try to do is, once they have the baby within 6 to 8 weeks, and once they are settled and everything is okay, we try to get them back to school in another district, not
Hmm.
close to their home, because it's really difficult socially
Yeah.
for them to get back to the same environment. So most of them head back to school, and that's usually the trajectory for, at least I would say, 90% of the children.
Beautiful. So they
Yeah.
have a bright future ahead of them.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah. Yeah.
back to school in a different area.
In a different area.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh my goodness, the wonderful work you're doing there. And so the presentation you're sharing here with us, Midwifery Care of Adolescent Pregnancies, Lessons from India. So tell us a little bit what you're hoping our viewers will take away from this presentation.
Right. So, what I hope after viewing this presentation from the viewer's perspective is that they will gain insight as to how to care for adolescents,
Hmm.
girls, when they, if at all they encounter them in their career. How can they best offer their services tailor made to a child?
Hmm.
Not exactly to a grown woman, because of these are two different populations altogether.
Yes.
And I do believe in my heart that midwifery care is the solution for adolescent teenagers. I really, really do believe in it. That if teenagers are pregnant, I that's one of the biggest takeaways I have in my project, is that I'm quite firm on the fact that if I'm going to compare obstetric services and midwifery care is far ahead, way ahead. So I hope that this will be an inspiration for many others to take these lessons, translate into practice, enable them to think about starting similar programs in their countries, to get involved in volunteer work. And I'm not saying everybody has to do it on a day-to-day basis, but whatever they can do, you know
Yes, absolutely.
uh, whatever. And I think it really, we really, we don't have that a lot, but we really need to have programs of training, as to, like, even if it's a short module, like, okay,
Hmm.
if I'm in this situation, how do I do this? What do I need to look for?
Yeah.
How can I identify that this child is at risk even after the birth is over, because our story doesn't end with the birth.
Right.
So we really need to look into all those layers.
Well, Priyanka, thank you so much. We are very much looking forward to your presentation here.
Thank
That's part
you.
of the Midwifery Conference, and your presentation will be live on February 7th here. It depends on which time zone you're in, right? That's
Yeah.
the wonderful world of being online and being able to learn together, throughout, all over the world, no matter what time zone we are in. But all the presentations, of course, will be recorded. So anybody who is interested in this presentation and the other presentations and is not available during that time frame, we have the recordings available as well. So thank you so much,
Thank you
Priyanka,
so
for
much. Thank
sharing
you.
your wisdom here with us and presenting with us at Gold.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you so much. Looking forward.
And for our viewers, if you would like to find out more about Priyanka and the presentation, and of course all the other presentations in the conference, we invite you to visit goldmidwifery.com. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope to see you at the conference. Bye bye
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.